What is up, fam? Agent O here with another action figure review, and today I have the S.H.Figuarts Captain America figure from the Age of Ultron movie line. And once again, this is another reason or another example of why Hasbro is failing, and because you have another company taking their license and doing a better job with the figures than they're doing it with. I'm just gonna jump right into this review. I'm gonna talk about the aesthetics and the posability. And as you can tell, this is a brand new sculpt, unlike the Marvel Legends Captain America figure that's from the Age of Ultron line, where all they did was just give you a modified torso, and the rest of the body was the Winter Soldier cap. You know, not the case here. Here we have an entirely brand new sculpt. It's pretty much movie accurate as far as I can tell. You know, it's about as movie accurate as you're going to get with a figure of this size. I have no problems with the sculpt and with the stylization. It's, you know, I heard some people were complaining about the face sculpt and how it doesn't look like Chris Evans, but you know what, I don't care, because neither does the Marvel Legends Cap figure, because they used the Winter Soldier head, and the Winter Soldier head didn't look like Chris Evans either. You know, this looks more like a comic book version / Chris Evans. You know, to me it's a really good sculpt. I've got no problems with it. Everything that I need to be able to identify that this is Captain America is all there. The paint apps are fantastic as usual with a S.H.Figuarts figure. They give you enough layers of paint, even though it's cast in white. Even though it's cast in blue, the white is a little bluish, but who cares, because they actually give you enough layers of white so that it does still come off looking white. There's no bleed, there's no slop, there's no nothing. You know, granted, the whole body is cast in the color it's supposed, in the base color, but you know, he's red, white, and blue, and they knocked it out of the park with the way they handled the paint apps. You know, even down to the Avengers logo on the shoulder pads. You know, really nice touch, and you can definitely tell that it's an Avengers A. Just really phenomenal job. I've got really no hardcore complaints about the aesthetics of this figure. I really don't have too many complaints about the articulation of this figure, because one thing that Bandai is all about is articulation. Even on the box it says S.H.Figuarts is a new standard figure series that incorporates the Bandai action figure art under the theme pursuing character expression through humanoid action. So that means you're going to get a really superposable figure, because that's what they do. They're all about the posability, and this figure is no different from any of the other figures in the line when it comes to posability. You know, you've got your head that's on a ball joint, which I just popped off, but that's on a ball joint. The neck is also on a ball joint, so you've got a lot of range of motion. You can get, you know, a head tilt going on in there. You know, if you wanted him to look, you know, kind of quizzical at somebody. He can look down, he can look up, you know, no problems. He can look all the way around. If you really need to do this 360 thing with his head, I don't see why you would, but he can do that. His shoulders are on a shoulder swivel, kind of like how some of the older Marvel Legends figures were on. So you got range of motion that way. His shoulder pads are on a swivel, and you know, they can bend all the way up, so they don't get in the way of the figure when you're posing. But his arm only goes about that far. But it's cool that you have this much clearance with the shoulder pad, because that tells you that, you know, it's not going to get in the way of any of your posing. There is a lot of play in the shoulder ball joint. I wish I could get some light in there on that, but I really can't. But you know, it comes out a decent amount, so you know, you can get a lot of poses. Like I have a pose, I'm gonna show you the picture probably later of him holding the shield, like in, I forgot which cover of the comic where he's holding the shield down and he's looking down, but I was able to reproduce that using this, you know, with this figure. I was able to reproduce that image or that pose with this figure, which you can't get with the Marvel Legends. I'm sorry, Hasbro, I keep harping on these guys, keep harping on Hasbro, because Hasbro has been dropping the ball. Like DMX says, you're slipping, you're falling, and you can't get up. What? You know, you guys are just failing, man, when you got all these other companies doing your figures better than you're doing them. You guys got to Hasbro, step your game up, man. You know, I wish Bandai would always do Marvel Legends figures, because I would definitely buy them. But anyway, moving on. You've got a shoulder. You got the shoulder swivel. You got double elbows. You've got your hands are on a ball swivel. You got the diaphragm joint, which Hasbro. I mean, sorry, not Hasbro. S.H.Figuarts always does their diaphragm joints justice. There's tons of range of motion on it. You know, you can without having to move the torso swivel, which is also on a ball joint. You can get them to look down. You can get them to look up. You can actually pull it back so far that you actually pull it back farther than what it really needs to go. So, you know, I gotta always catch myself from doing that. But you got the Bandai T joint, which is also on a swivel, so you can pull the leg down. It doesn't come down a whole lot, just a little bit, but just enough that you can get the clearance, so he can do high kicks, or you can get those wide stance poses that we all love to do so much with our action figures. He's got double jointed knees. The leg swivel is also up there in the hips, with the hips, just like with the Power Rangers figures. And he's got the ankle rockers and ankle swivel and the toe point, which there's not a whole lot of movement with that toe point, but that's okay. Oh no, I take that back. I don't really use the toe point a whole lot, but it's there if you need it. Just overall, posability wise, I'm just really happy with this figure. There's no complaints, because, you know, S.H.Figuarts has it down to a science when it comes to posability. So I'm just gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about the accessory. All right, now that we've got the articulation portion out of the way, I'm going to talk about the accessories. And of course, he comes with posable hands. He's got the shield throwing hands. He's got some relaxed hands, which I think can also double as, you know, holding the shield without any of the additional shield holding accessories. And he's got like splayed open hands. You'll see in the picture, but I also wanted to talk about the shield that he comes with. Here's another Marvel Legends cap shield, and even though they both have kind of like a metallic looking finish, I just think that the S.H.Figuarts shield is just a better look. They used a darker, more chromatic looking blue and red, so the star, I think, pops out more on this guy than on this guy. The blue on this one is too bright. The reds on both look pretty good, but this is like a deeper, kind of like a darker red. And the silver looks about the same. The white in between the two red rings looks about the same, but I like this one better. I think the darker navy blue really clinches it when it comes to the overall look of this guy. And I think the darker red helps make the highlights on the shield pop a bit more. I hate using that word pop because that seems to be like the word everybody uses in reviews, but it does actually work in this case. I prefer it better. I prefer it, you know, rather than the Marvel Legends shield. Here's the Winter Soldier cap shield. It's definitely bigger. The back of both these shields is different. This one actually has straps instead of the peg clip combo that these shields usually come with. It's not bad, it's all right. But where this shield shines is the fact that these peg pieces can actually come out to allow some of the other shield holding accessories. Like here, you can put this peg piece in and it'll peg onto Cap's back, and you'll want to be careful because the peg hole on his back is very small, and the piece that covers it is also really small, so you want to be careful when you're taking it out that you don't accidentally drop it and lose it, because that has happened to me. I didn't lose it, but I dropped it and I had to spend some time searching for it. But once that's on there, once this is on here, it just pegs onto his back, and now you have the shield on his back for, you know, your poses, your action poses and all that fun stuff. Then you have this clear piece right here, which pegs into the shield like so, and you use one of the shield throwing hands, which the shield throwing hand has a peg on it. As you can see, there's a peg on there which clips into the peg hole on the. It's a lot easier when it's on his body, when it's actually on there, but it pegs into the slot, and when you attach it, I prefer doing it like this, putting it in beforehand and then attaching it to Cap's arm into the ball joint. So it just seems a lot easier to me. This clip, I don't really think it's that necessary. I think with the hand holding the shield, and that coupled with the peg hole, I think this is good enough to keep it in place. The wrist doesn't really do it. This wrist clip doesn't really do anything, I feel, but it's there for added stability. So, you know, a little added stability doesn't hurt, and you know, it works. I mean, I love the fact that they included this clear piece, and it works for when you're taking pictures and whatnot, because the clear piece kind of helps disguise all the, you know, the assistance that it's given when it comes to making it look like he's throwing the shield. And you just want to be, of course, with anything, you want to be careful taking these things in and out, because once the peg's broken, it's pretty much worthless. Now, the one thing that there's one other thing. Cap comes with shield holding hands. He comes with the hand already molded to hold the handle. So you just attach it onto the ball joint, and then he comes with this this arm bar piece. That's what I'm calling it, because I don't really know what else it's called, but the forearm slides in, and then you peg this other piece out like so. And then you'll peg the bar holding hand in there. Whoops. You'll peg that in there, and then the forearm goes through on this end into the ball joint, into the ball socket in the hand, and that way you have Cap holding the shield. So these are all nice little additions that, you know, once again, you know, engineering's a key thing when you're getting a S.H.Figuart, and they definitely made sure to engineer some really cool features into the shield by itself. Now, one of the things that kind of surprised me when I opened this package is not so much the extra head, which is also a really good sculpt. It's not so much that, but the fact that you can split the head open, crack Cap's head open, and the eyes come out, and he comes with 3 sets of eyes, and surprisingly the eyes fit really flush with the head. I didn't even notice that they were separate pieces until I started fiddling around with the figure. I thought it was all one piece. Trying to shed a little light there. I thought it was all one piece, and it's not. It's you know, two, and you know, you get them looking like left. You have one set of eyes for looking left, you have another set of eyes looking right, and you have another set where he's just looking straight. This is a little, like, these eyes are a little off, like the right eye is a little bit off, and you can tell. So he kind of has a little derpage going on, like he's trying to cross his eyes, but only one is crossing. So it looks weird when you're looking straight ahead, but if you have it angled like so, it looks like he's looking towards his left. And I think that's why it looks a little off when you're looking at it straight ahead. But it looks all right because you can have those angles where the camera is pointing kind of upwards towards his face, and it looks like it'll look like he's looking in your direction. And then if I take this out, put in the other set of eyes, which, I mean, it fits in really well. Now he's looking to his right, and I mean, I think it works. It'll suck if you happen to get a Cap figure where the eyes don't match up, and that would really suck, because you're paying the prices that some of these toy stores, you know, they're inflating the prices to, you know, make more money on the fact that a lot of people want these figures, and that sucks. So it'll double suck if you get a set of eyes that don't exactly work. But I think these eyes are angle specific, and that's why they look a little off sometimes when you're looking at it from different angles. I think you have to have the head angled in such a way that the direction that the eyes are looking on actually works. So I thought that was really slick that they included this sort of thing in there. I don't really think it was that necessary, but I think it's more Bandai or S.H.Figuarts experimenting with ways to use less plastic, because I mean, they could easily have just used they could have easily made a whole face plate that you could have just swapped out. But I think this is less plastic. I think using the googly eyes is what I call them. Using the googly eyes instead of crafting an entire face might save them a bit more money in plastic. Just because I think this would kind of be maybe a little less plastic than the whole face, but I could be wrong. So I think it's just them experimenting and seeing how well the fans and the audience and the collectors that collect these figures, you know, receive this kind of new thing, because I haven't seen this sort of thing on any other figure. I know there are other figures that have a mechanism built into them where the eyes move depending on, you know, which way the head is turned and stuff. I think Hot Toys has done that. There's been a Gurren Lagann mech where the eyes can actually move. But that's I think this is just a workaround for that. One last thing, or I guess I should talk about my complaints, which aren't that many with this figure. And the one biggest complaint I have is that I was under the impression that these figures were going to be 6 inches tall, and they're not. He's just shy of 6 inches, and I've got some pictures where I have him posed next to Spider-Man and next to the Winter Soldier Cap from Marvel Legends and the actual Winter Soldier from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie. And you can tell he's just shy of 6 inches, which kind of sucks, because, you know, I would have really liked to have used these figures in place of some of the movie figures, especially that weak ass Marvel Legends Age of Ultron Cap figure that they put out. I would have loved to have used this guy, and you still can, because like the height difference isn't that bad. It's not so far off that that it looks so out of place if you have them, especially if they're in action poses and stuff. It won't look that bad, but I just don't really like the fact that this Spider-Man is taller than Cap. Like, that just is weird. That's weird to me. I'm gonna take this guy off the turntable just to show you what I'm talking about. I have these guys standing relatively in the same spot next to each other, and you can see Cap is just shy of Spidey's height. I mean, it may be like 6 inches right on the dot, but I think it would look better if he was just a little bit taller than Spidey. I just always imagined Cap being taller than Spider-Man. That's just me. But that's my biggest complaint about this figure is the height. You know, he should have been a good 6 inches, or you know, a good maybe 6.5 maybe, because he's supposed to be a super soldier, and you know, he went into the machine short and he came out really tall, and you know, he's supposed to be a, you know, kind of a towering, intimidating presence, and it still works. But yeah, that was just my biggest gripe about this figure. And that's pretty much it. I mean, otherwise, I think this is another solid entry in the S.H.Figuarts line of action figures, and I'm hoping that they do a Black Widow and a Hawkeye figure, because I would like to add those to the movie line collection. That's pretty much gonna do it. I can't really think of anything else offhand that I could add to this review. So I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm Agent O, and I'm out. Peace.